How we doing, true believers? Matt Sardo here. Monkeys Fighting Robots, the panel breakdown. I finally was able to track down a copy of X-O Manowar Unconquered. Surprisingly, Valiant sent it to me, and that was amazing. I was very disappointed when I went to my comic book shop last week, and they had one copy left, and it was all mangled, and I couldn't buy it. Couldn't buy it. But man, I love this cover. This cover gets me excited 7 ways to Sunday. Like, this is just an old school, early 80s sci-fi, fantasy, heavy metal craziness. Like, I love it. I love the colors. I love this big, bold logo here. I love the blazing sword and everything. Oh, look at that. We have somebody's head. Evil guy, mystic, ship, space. Like, this is it for me. This is everything that gets me all the goosies going. Like, I am ready to go after this cover. Like Liam knocks it out of the park. All right, so X-O Manowar Unconquered #1. We have Becky, Cloonan, and Michael Conrad are the writers. Liam Sharp is the artist. Troy Peteri is the letterer, and Liam Sharp is on the cover. So I'm assuming, and you guys let me know, that Liam did all the colors as well. So we'll give him all the credit for the coloring. And this gentleman, Troy, is in charge of letters. And this is going to be a fun ride. Let's check it out. Walking into the first page, I was a little taken back. Like, we're going full, like, heavy metal style. You know, this is not a traditional comic book. This is going to be like a fun ride. I do love this blue texture in the background. I think that's what took me back, is the blue texture in the background. Going against this, like, golden brownish color of death. Like, I was very, like, I see this blazing sword, I see the smoke, and then I see the bodies and the skulls and the death, and I'm like, what is going on here? But I like this layer right here where it's like it gets smaller and smaller, like it directs your eye all the way to this page turn, and then this is different. This lettering is different than this one, so you're like, oh, this is special. And then I turn the page. Boom, your eye wants to go up this way, but you go past this guy right here. And then Aric is all in, like, fire, and, like, I'm still, like, enamored with the background. Like, what is going on back there? What is this displaying? And then you have a nice splash introduction of X-O Manowar. And then you realize, like, this right here. And then we go, like, full on, like, goth aliens, like, heavy metal, like, good stuff. Like, and I love the reverse here of it's, like, in the face, a little wider shot, and then you see a full body shot here. Like, this was cool because it's usually in reverse where you get it, like, the opposite direction. But I like that here. And you got Aric's helmet close in the eyeballs, and then just giant monster. I love this glow over here. And then in the face, and it's all bloody. Like, this is just, savage. Just savage. It fits so well for the character. Then we establish with this is that, okay, this is a space opera going on right now here. And you got this giant asteroid. And again, like, the colors are so epic. Like, you got these blues, and then you have, like, these reds and goldens, purples, then fades to black, transitions to black. Then we're in space. Oh man, it's really good. And this sticks out so much. Like, this is a well-designed page right here that highlights X-O's cosmic abilities and the colors, and then the vastness of the universe, and, like, how big asteroids are compared to humans. And then we go back to our witch lady, our vision quest lady. And then we see this guy who's from the cover. And he's so good looking. And look at the contrast of, like, you have Aric right here. And then you have, like, the aliens and, like, the color difference and everything. Everything just pops. Oh, man. This is a good splash page. This, like, double page spread where you have, like, the chaos of the comet. I like the teeth here. and then life flashing before your eyes. Like, this is a good descriptor of the end of times or end of an epic event. Like, this is everything we've gone through. This is where we're going. And I like the way it kind of goes up and away. I mean, because if you think about it, like humans, we envision people going up to heaven. And then, like, ever seen the Iron Giant? Like, he's always pushing upward. Like, I like this, that we're not pushing towards the page turn. Liam is pushing up and upward. And again, very reminiscent of what we believe and then like things we've seen before. Oh, you get 2 double page spreads in a row. I like the lettering on this. Crack-a-thoom. And it's not over the top where you're like, oh, this is taking away from this glorious explosion back here and all the little details that are going on here. But it adds to it, complements it. Like, this is beautiful. And then you have this nice spectrum of colors going here as things unfold, and we're not sure what happened to X-O Manowar. Like, this is a really laid out well page. You have the epicness of the moment, and then you're leading to the next part of the story, and then you also lead the reader on the page turn here. Like, look at all this text right here at the bottom. You're like, oh, and this is where my eyes are going to go, and then I'm going to turn the page, and then we get Bloodshot. What? We get Bloodshot. That's funny. But then you go up here where your eye goes, and then you start fading through here. It's a lot of panels. But I do like, I don't know, somebody can let me know if this is how you perceive it or how it's traditionally said. I do like that there's this one giant panel on the back. It makes this feel a little bit more organic or intertwined in the story. Like, this is in the background as this is happening right now. Like, it's like, okay, this is more of for me, it's an establishing shot, and then this is the chaos that unfolds. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Got 12 panels. It definitely is really tight, but these panels also are like one singular image, another singular image, and then it gets divided up under here. So I do like the way it sets up the story and the events. You know, X-O's flying through space because he just exploded. Then he's crashing into a planet. Aftermath, and then establishing shot, close-up shot, and then like a real establishing shot. Probably because you had to fit in all this dialogue between Aric and the armor. But again, this ends on the page turn, and you're then want to go back up to here. And there you are. Like, you draw a straight line to where your eyes went. Oh, look at that hand, man. That is so realistic. That is crazy. That is really good. And so we're in this space opera going on in the X-O Manowar Unconquered. And so we've been in space. We've crash landed. Immediately, a giant monster attacks. Like, we are hitting all the notes of crazy good sci-fi action here of what we're hoping to get. And then, you know, battle damage, sword, blood. Again, like, this is having this big panel in the background makes it more like what's going on. And then these are like the close-up shots that are happening as the battle unfolds. So like my brain kind of sees this and has a big shot here and then sees this, but my brain like makes it a full page as well. Like, I see this like whoosh, and like, okay. And then in this one, he's run another full page of seeing it. So, and then here the stabbing, like, you can see, I can visualize that, and it's all a big full page as well. So I wonder if this full page plays like a mind trick on me, then portraying these in full. I see these as full pages as well as I get immersed in the story. Let me know what you think on something like this. How does your brain react? How do you visualize these panels? And then look at this nice little arc leading to the page turn. Again, you got to guide the reader and make them read the book. And also like helps you this page turn thing is huge because it helps you enwrap the story around the reader. If I'm like just going through reading, establishing, whoa, and then I'm like, without even thinking about it, turning the page because you're making me get to this corner, like that's all. Because what if the story doesn't appear, and then it's like, okay, I gotta think about it. I gotta come all the way down here. I come out of the story. These page turns are epic. And then the battle rages on, and this this shot here is confusing because it's the middle of an action shot. But his disdain for life right now is all over this panel right here. He's just like, whatever, I don't care. Throw anything at me. Like I'm done with this world. I really want to leave. And all of that is right here in this panel. He's just like, whatever. It's the best whatever panel I've seen in a long time. He's like duking it out, fighting this guy. But in real life, inside he's just like, whatever. I don't care. This monster can eat me. I can beat it. Whatever. I'm just done. I'm over it. I'm over it. This is the I'm over it face of 2023. This is pretty epic. Love the blazing sword, the extreme brightness, and then the blood splatter everywhere. X-O is just covered in blood. But again, like you come down to this and you're here and you come out of the book a little bit because of this ad here, and there's no real force to the page turn. So like I see this and I'm like, oh, what is this? And then I come out of it and I come back and I'm like, okay, establishing shot of spaceship. And this is I liked the design, but I also was a little, I want to say it wasn't blown away. Let's go to the asteroid. Let's see if we can go to the asteroid earlier and compare. So look at the angle of the asteroid. You have a nice angle. You got the sun behind it. Like there's a good angle to this. It's an exciting angle where you're like, okay, what's going on here? And then this is kind of just a flatter angle to it. And you're like, okay, that's all right. It's all right. It's a ship, but I feel like he could have done more with this, but like this whole book is just so much detail. So I'm fine with this being okay. And then you get into these like black and white borders when you're in the ship. Like I think that's really good for establishing the alien world, and then the colors that they're using. This is like blues and blacks and whites. Like, oh, it's soothing and it's creepy and it's cold and everything is amazing about it. You got nice 4 panels. A lot of talking here. I do like the 6-panel grid page because I think it allows for the art to breathe or to be exciting, but then also give you lots of room for lots of dialogue if you're trying to establish like world building and I don't know, like scientific stuff or everything. But I do like the 6-panel grid. And again, I've mentioned this before that like this panel coming in joins everything together or like establishes the world. Like they're having this conversation, but then you get this big reveal and then your brain kind of fills in the details. Trying to see all the detail in this. Like there is something crazy going on here. And I wish I could see the details a little bit more. Flower garden, trees. And I'm trying to establish like this is the main villain, but these subsidiary villains, trying to figure out who everybody is in this story. But again, this blue, the blacks, and the whites are very solid colors for a sci-fi spaceship. If you're doing the alien thing, you turn those blues to like greens and you're like, here you are. But this is tried and true sci-fi and it works really well. And I like these boxes here. They blend in, but you still read them. And then there's a huge contrast between X-O's world and the space world. Like this ship right here, like this page looks so much better than the other ship. Again, I'm not harping on it, but like this has a nice highlight lines going on here. There's some movement there, and then the background has some cool colors in there where your eyes are like, oh, this just looks glorious. So you have some like long panels, square, trying to establish a pattern of what's going on here. So this is, you got this big establishing shot, and then you like have these two panels, and you have to hop over here. I don't know how I would have laid it out better, but it definitely gets a little wonky. But I guess since it's on this panel, you don't mind going this way. But I do like this action here where you see X-O here, and then this is the action that shows up following with words. So you get definitely solid movement. You can see this. I can see this as a movie. The shunk, this is definitely a nice movie panel action going on here. These monsters, or these guys, look beautiful. I love the halo effect going on there, and then this. I love the detail, and then it fades out. Like this panel right here, you really focus on this dude being as badass as possible. And then you get the whatever from X-O. And I like this helmet design. This helmet design is really cool. You're used to seeing his whole face, but this is very like getting kind of alien action going on here. And okay, so we see this guy's face is here. Nose ring, eyeballs, Terminator with a beard. And then you get to see the flip side of what's going on. I do like these square panels. I like the way that's divided up to get ready to show action. And then you got to balance the story between, okay, this is what's going on in X-O's world. This is what's going on the ship. There's definitely enough color separation and differences here. I like these, right? And then these through the camera lens. This is laid out well. With the circles, the squares, edges of the page turn. It even draws you over like, who's talking over here? Boom. And then you get a nice battle. And then you're at the end of the book. That's crazy. It reads quick. It does read quick. Like there's a lot of stuff going on and you appreciate the artwork, but then when you get to the end, you're like, oh, I'm at the end. I mean, they kind of fool you a little bit with a few extra pages of what's going on, some letter pages and some previews of covers and everything like that. But when you get to this, you're like, oh, I'm done. Overall, I'm really excited about this. I can't wait for the second issue. X-O is just going to go on a rampage. They end it well. Run, go tell your emperor, the man of war cometh. Like, yeah, it's good. And look at that. Schlack. This head is off of his body. This is one of the few comics recently that delivers on the cover. This gentleman did not make it out. You got a little sword here. And look, sword, head. They told you what they were going to do on the cover, and they did it. I really like this book. I'm excited. Like it hits all the notes that I wanted in like a sci-fi fantasy adventure, and then Liam's artwork is just bonkers good. Like he is putting 120% into the whole entire thing with the colors and the art, and like the details are bonkers good. Look at this. There's so much stuff going on here, and the thought process on it I think is really solid. So I would highly recommend this book. Did you get X-O Manowar Unconquered #1? Let me know what you thought of it in the comments below. So glad to be joining you with another panel breakdown. I'm Matt Sardo, and you have a great new comic book day.